Good afternoon, Carmel. I'm Ted Paya.
And I'm Maya Henderson. On today's show, you'll hear from your host on the Facebook data scandal, a French supermarket hostage situation, Carmel boys basketball, and a Netflix original controversy.
You'll also hear from Marissa on the March for Our Lives movement, James and Will on basketball updates, and McLean on upcoming Avengers movies.
It's going to be a great show, but first, let's roll the intro.
This week, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg sat down for an interview with the New York Times and apologized in his expressions and his regrets on how his company handled a massive data breach. This data breach involved a third-party application asking people for self-surveys, which led to millions of users' personal information being harvested by this company. This information then was used towards targeting, advertising, and influential marketing, and has been linked to the 2016 Trump campaign. Zuckerberg has admitted to his mistakes by saying that he wished he'd taken steps earlier to eliminate this problem. Zuckerberg plans on notifying users if their accounts have been compromised and is willing to testify in front of Congress if needed, and plans on taking more precautions on breaches like this in the future.
Well, Ted, it seems as if the law is still a couple steps behind these social media websites, and I personally can't blame them because it's such new territory.
Actually, Jim Carrey posted an unflattering picture of Jim Zuckerberg, and it was like showing his feelings towards this data breach and how he really is mad with it.
I actually saw that painting, and I think it's safe to say that Facebook has functioned for far too long without regulation. In tragic breaking news today, a hostage situation in France ended with 3 hostages dead. Police were finally able to shoot the gunman after a 4-hour standoff. The suspect was heavily armed and had no intention of letting hostages go until Salah Abdeslam was released. Salah Abdeslam was one of the most important surviving suspects of the 2015 Paris attacks, which killed 130 people. The last major attack from the Islamic State terrorist group was in October of 2017 when 2 women were stabbed to death while waiting for a train. Now to Marissa with more news.
Hello, Carmel. I'm Marissa Ryan with yet another tragic news story regarding the loss of teen lives. While everyone is still in turmoil from the Parkland shooting that took place over a month ago, the horror does not end there. Another shooting took place at Maryland High School on Tuesday, leaving 16-year-old Jalen Willie brain dead and sending 14-year-old Desmond Barnes to the hospital with a gunshot wound to the thigh. 17-year-old shooter Austin Rollins allegedly had just ended a relationship with the newly brain-dead victim. Resource officers immediately reacted to the scene, leaving officials wondering if Rollins was killed by the officer or had already taken his own life. Barnes was released from the hospital with an expected full recovery. Melissa Willie announced last night that her daughter would be removed from life support as there is, quoted, no life left in her. These tragic events leave many wondering what the next move is to prevent these mass shootings. This coming Saturday, March 24th, marks the March for Our Lives campaign, organized inside of the Indiana State House. One of the youngest speakers is Carmel's very own Isabella Falahi. The march starts at 11 in the morning, and it's just one of the ways students can show their support for the ones lost in these horrifying events. That concludes our news segment. Now to Maya and Ted at the host desk.
Thank you, Marissa. Tomorrow, the Carmel boys basketball team will take on the undefeated Warren Central Warriors in the state championship game. This game looks to be a fun game to attend and will be an intense one to watch also. Warren Central is trying to make history with becoming the first undefeated team to win a state championship since Princeton and Bloomington South in 2009 tournament. They are also trying to pull off the rare boys and girls double championship, but the Carmel team won't make it easy for them. With the likes of 6'10" John Michael, who is averaging 15 points and 8.2 rebounds a game, John Michael Malloy will be a strong force in the middle, making it tough for the Warren Central to drive to the bucket. Warren Central is the favorite team to win this game, though, but I really hope the Carmel boys basketball team can pull off an underdog victory. The game will take place at Bankers Life Fieldhouse at 8:15 p.m., so make sure you show up to support the boys basketball team. Now over to James and Will at the sports desk.
Good afternoon, Carmel. I'm Will Christie alongside James Yuska. The NBA season is coming to a close, which means the NBA playoffs are getting ready to start. Most spots in the East are pretty secure, but the Western Division is in a three-way tie for 8th place. Among teams in this tie are Minnesota, Utah, and the San Antonio Spurs. Over the last 20 years, the Spurs have established a culture of winning, and with their star player Kawhi Leonard out for the season, the Spurs have struggled. The last time the Spurs missed the playoffs was 1997, but they could be in danger as the season closes.
In college basketball, many of you know March Madness is now in the Sweet 16 and have more upsets than ever. Today, there are a couple of games you won't want to miss. Kansas versus Clemson, Villanova versus West Virginia, Syracuse versus Duke, and if you're a Purdue fan, then you won't want to miss the 2-seed Purdue take on 3-seed Texas Tech. This game will be at 10 o'clock tonight. So Will, what are your thoughts on the game?
Well, I think if Purdue wants any chance to win this game against a rolling Texas Tech team, they need Isaac Haas back, their big man in the post. If he's not back, he has a game-time decision today. If he's not back, then I don't think they have a chance of winning this game and moving on to the Elite Eight. And that's all for your sports update. Back to Maya at the host desk.
13 Reasons Why is getting ready for its second season. The Netflix original earned many positive reviews for tackling a sensitive subject matter, but this praise did not come without its fair share of criticism. Many critics found the show to be glamorizing suicide. There's also concern from the authorities whether the show was facilitating less conversation with parents and encouraging harmful behavior. These critiques in mind, Netflix conducted a study to evaluate the effect of the show. The results were released Wednesday. And I'm going to share those with you, Ted. It found that 71% of teens found the subject matter of the show to be relatable, and it also found that 50% of teens reached out to friends about mental health after watching it.
Yeah, those facts really show how impactful the show is, and I've heard Netflix is showing a warning now before the show, and I think that is really needed because this is a really touchy subject.
You're right, Ted. Regardless of the positive feedback from the study they conducted, a new warning will state this show may not be for you, and that will appear before each episode in season 2. Well, it looks like the show has had a positive effect on some teenagers. 13 Reasons Why has also launched an informational website at 13reasonswhy.info, which viewers can visit to learn more about the study, as well as more about suicide prevention. Now over to McLean with entertainment.
Good afternoon, Carmel High School. I'm McLean Wood with your entertainment news update. If you're someone like me, you would know that Marvel superhero movie Avengers: Infinity War is coming to theaters Thursday, April 26th. However, Chris Evans, also known as Captain America, may be ready to hang up his shield. Chris told the New York Times on Thursday that he has no plans to return to the Marvel movie franchise after reshoots of the fourth Avengers movie later this year. Fans are anxious to witness the fate of their favorite superheroes due to rumors of actors' contracts coming to an end and leaked footage from the movie that has not yet been released. In CHS Entertainment, the annual Mr. Carmel was held on March 9th. Mason Crum and I interviewed Zach Linville to get insight on this event.
What made me want to do Mr. Carmel was basically seeing all the other guys do it before me and saw how much fun they had. But also I saw how the inclusion cause, like the whole Special Olympics thing, was sort of growing in popularity as each year moved on. I thought it was a really great cause and I wanted to be a part of it. Participating in Mr. Carmel was definitely a lot different than what I expected. A lot of the contestants, we all grew a lot closer throughout the entire process, and we all grew closer with our escorts, I think, as well, which was really neat. Took away is just how important the whole inclusion cause can be, and just building those genuine relationships with like the Special Olympics students like Michael, my escort, was really fun. During the escort walk, Michael, we were supposed to hold our pose and then walk off to the stage, but Michael told me he wanted to stay out there for a little longer, so I was like, okay. And then what was really fun was Bailey Ingalls, one of the backstage operators, ran out and gave him a microphone, and he started singing the song that was playing. I thought it was really cute, and it wasn't planned at all, so I thought that was a really spontaneous part of the show. No, I think that would definitely be the best part of the entire show, at least for me, just because of how unique it was and how much fun Michael said he was having. Like, I could tell he was really enjoying himself out there. There's always the fear that you're going to mess up, but I'm not usually the type of person that gets nervous in front of crowds, but there was definitely like a little bit of making sure you don't, make a fool of yourself in front of all those people. In terms of how long we prepared after or before Mr. Carmel, we spent all the way since January doing some form of preparation, but things really started picking up the couple weeks leading up to the show. I know that we raised over $3,000 just in the Mr. Champion buckets alone, which I thought was really something neat. But I think overall, like after ticket sales and T-shirt costs and stuff, we raised around $8,000, which was pretty good. Michael and I knew each other a little bit. I've seen him, I've talked to him a couple times, but after the whole Mr. Carmel process, we definitely grew a lot closer, and we became pretty good friends.
The winner of Mr. Carmel this year was Joe Blake. In more local news, Carmel High School's event Evening with the Accents and Ambassadors is tomorrow night at 7 to 8:30 in the auditorium. This is their last time performing their competition set, so be sure to come out and support your fellow Greyhounds and all of their hard work. Now back to Maya and Ted at the host desk.
Thanks, McLean.
Remember to follow CHTV's Twitter page and subscribe to CHTV Carmel Television for more content. This has been Ted Paya.
And Maya Henderson with your CHTV News. See you next week.